there. Thanks for tuning in to the Dogwood Media Solutions podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Cumby, and today we'll be talking with our SEO specialist, Beth Gillum, about SEO versus SEM. Hi, and welcome to the Dogwood Media Solutions podcast. I'm Lauren Cumby, one of your hosts, and today I have Beth Gillum with me, and she is here with us for episode 2. I am so excited to be in the same room with you and not be over Zoom.
Amen, Lauren. For those that don't know, I'm a remote employee for Dogwood. I started out here in town, and then our family moved up to Northwest Alabama in the Shoals. So we are here in town this weekend and took advantage of that to come in this amazing studio and record this podcast.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you with us. I know that we talk about you a lot in all different kinds of ways on the podcast, so people have probably heard about you before. But so Beth has been a part of Dogwood pretty much since the beginning. She's been with us for about a year and a half now, and her title has changed a lot, and her role has changed a lot over the years. So she originally came in to help me with social media, and then she kind of started doing blog writing, and now she is our SEO specialist. So tell us a little bit about how you became a part of Dogwood and your connections and ties in with Brian and me.
All right. Well, funny story, but Brian and I met in elementary school at Head Elementary in Montgomery. Now, he was a couple of years older than me. His sister and I were closer in age, so I really knew her. We actually served on junior traffic police together. But Brian's mom and I and my mother were both on the PTA. So that was our first initial meeting. So I kind of knew who he was, and he knew who I was growing up after that. And then we lived in the same neighborhood when he started Dogwood. Actually, before we moved out there to that neighborhood, Brian was in the neighborhood walking, and he waved to me, and I waved to him. But we were sitting outside one day, and he said, "Hey, we're looking for a part-time person for Dogwood. Let me know if you know anybody." And since my youngest child was starting kindergarten, I thought maybe I'm interested, which looking back was kind of crazy because this was not my field,
Your degree's in biology, right?
Yes, and I love my degree. I have a degree in science from Faulkner University here, and I loved it. But this has made a lot of sense to me. And I like people. I like communicating. My parents used to call me Mouth of the South. So it has worked out well.
Good. Yeah. And I remember when you first came on, I remember Brian saying you know Beth. And I was like, yes, I know Beth. Because obviously you and me know this, but everybody else doesn't. I've known you pretty much my whole life because,
Yep.
I mean, your dad was my pastor and you went to Eastmont and I went to Eastmont. And, the Northcutts are kind of famous around here. So we've known each other for a while. But I remember Brian asking me, are you going to be okay, working together? I know you're young. And I was like, yeah, I think we're good. I know Beth well enough that, she's not the kind of person that's going to be, sassy about me being a young person.
Believe me, I recognized your level of expertise over me in this. And so there was no way I was going to have any issue with learning or listening or taking direction from you. So
yeah, well, and it helped that the company was so new that, I feel like I was learning just as much as anybody else. So there wasn't really any sort of, weirdness about who knew the most or whatever. I feel like we all just have grown and learned with each other as the company has grown, which is really cool.
Definitely.
But so today we are going to be talking with our SEO guru about SEO and SEM, what that means, why it's important, and why you should be, having a good strategy for your SEO and your SEM and all that kind of good stuff. So to start out, Beth, what is SEO?
Okay. I feel like I do a really good job of taking something that can be very technical and making it very simple to where anyone, just regardless of your background, can understand. So that's what I'm going to do with SEO right now. SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. And when someone asks me what I do, I say, I make sure that your website shows up on Google. That is the simplest thing. Okay. Right. But basically what it does is search engine optimization takes the content on your web pages, on your blog post, even your videos, any content that you have shared out there, through your website, and puts it in a language that search engines can understand. Okay. So every 6 weeks, every month, Google and other search engines will scan all the content on your website. So they can read what you write, but to better understand exactly what your content is about, there are things that you can optimize, as in search engine optimization, so that the search engines really know this is what this content is answering, this is what this content is about, and then when those things are optimized, they can then show that content to search queries, your audience who is looking for you. Mm-hmm. Kind of the gist of it there.
Yeah, that makes sense. In the blog, you talked about two main parts of SEO being on-page SEO and then link building. So what are those? Why are they important?
Okay, so the two main parts of SEO, like Lauren said, we have on-page SEO, which is the work done on each back end or page of your website or blog post that you have. Now, some of this is incorporated into the content that you write, but some of it are totally behind the scenes things. And the second is link building. I'll get into that in a minute. But the way I explain on-page SEO is think for a minute about the last time that you walked into a brick and mortar store or an office, okay, a professional office. Mm-hmm. When you walk in, there are things that you immediately notice or maybe don't notice or notice if they're not working. But is the air conditioner running or the heat on? Are the lights working? Is it clean? Is there signage to show you where you need to go or where you can find what you need to find? All of these things are what make a business, I believe, a good place to visit. Like, it makes customers want to come back. Well, in the website world, those similar things are what draw search engines to choose to show your website higher in search engine rankings, okay, and results. So, for example, when they visit your website, does it load quickly? Or is it slow? And are there any errors? Are they getting broken links or 404 errors? Are they getting all these, is it cumbersome for them to navigate? Can they find what they're looking for? Another big aspect of on-page SEO is what we call alternative text. A regular visitor to your website will never notice this, but if a visitor uses a low vision screen reader, alternative text will describe to them what your photos are about. And this is a big deal for SEO. They want to make sure that everybody, the internet is available for everyone. So these little things, along with designating your content, remember that navigation, like if you walk into a store, can you figure out the signage?
Right.
Headings on-page SEO are what search engines look for to say, what is this content about? And when I do headings, I think, what's the main idea of my content?
Right.
And that gets into your keyword. And I'm going to go into this a lot more in depth in future podcasts. But your on-page SEO basically is making sure it's working right, identifying your headers, repeating your keyword. Do you have a good meta description that repeats your keyword? And is the alt text included for any photos or images on your site? So that's the on-page portion of SEO.
Yeah, and last week we talked about that a little bit with, we talked about the 3 tips for showing up on Google. And that was one of the things that we talked about was how SEO is one of those things that when you tell people what it is, it's really not that complicated. It's just knowing what to do. And so many people don't realize that these are simple things that you can be implementing into your content when you're writing your blogs or you're making new pages or whatever. You just have to know to do it. And it makes such a big difference over the long run.
Exactly. The second part of SEO is what we call link building. Sometimes they call it off-site SEO. And in the website world, link building means that you are vouching for another website, giving it credibility. Just as if I walked into the office and said, hey, where can I get a good cup of coffee? Chances are someone could recommend somewhere nearby where I could go pick up you're recommending, hey, you should go to this place. Well, in the website world, you recommend a website by linking to it.
Right.
Sharing a link, and I don't mean sharing it on social media. I mean actually copying the URL and embedding it, putting it in your own content, saying go to this site or learn more here. So this link building, the more links to your website from others gives more trust in the eyes of search engines. And so they say, oh, okay, when so many are linking to it, then this must be a credible site. Therefore, I will reward that site by showing it higher in search engine rankings.
Right.
Now, there are ways you can go and buy links. I highly discourage this.
Tisk.
Yes, it doesn't matter. It's not so much how many links you have pointing to your website, but the quality of those links too. To me, link building is one of the harder aspects of SEO because it is a relationship thing. You have to begin this process, really reach out to other business owners and say, hey, can I guest post for you? Can we exchange links? Or go back and say, hey, you mentioned my business in your blog post, or would you mind hyperlinking it and giving me a link? So and that's hard sometimes when they're a client for me and I'm not, it's easier for me for Dogwood to go out and say, hey, you should link to this blog and share this content. But so that's where the relationship part comes in for that part. But really, if you can do anything with SEO, start those on-page optimizations in your content. Identify your keyword. What's the main idea? What are people searching for? Well, have I answered that question? Let's make sure the search engines know that I'm giving you the answer to that question.
Right. Yeah, that link building stuff is, we've even struggled with that, trying to figure out how to do that in the best way for us, because the places that are most likely to be talking about something similar that we would be able to be an expert in are probably our competitors.
Exactly. Now, anytime when we link out within our content, I make sure that this is obviously not a competitor,
right?
But an organic link. I think, okay, as you're reading this content, what would be the next step that someone might want to learn more about that content?
Right.
So I like to link out to professional organizations, associations, or educational associations, but definitely not a competitor.
Yeah.
That would make zero sense.
Right, exactly. All right, so that is basically SEO in a nutshell, but what is SEM? They sound very similar.
They do. Okay, so SEO is search engine optimization. SEM is search engine marketing. Now, some used to say these both are under the same umbrella of SEM, but to me, they're very, very different. Okay. Now, SEO, remember, and I know y'all talked about this in last week's podcast, but that SEO is a long game. Okay. If you can't optimize things in a day and expect your rankings to increase that month.
Right.
3-month mark, you might see some uptick, but really the 6-month mark is a good way to gauge how these things are working. Now, SEM is totally different, okay? Because what those keywords that we mentioned, keyword is what is someone searching for? If I'm searching for a dog food, and I may put in best dog food, that's a keyword, okay? So with search engine marketing, you can purchase those keywords to show up at the top of the page for search engine rankings as an ad, okay? Whereas search engine optimization, you will not have that ad. It's organic growth. So technically it's free. Of course, depending if you do the work, it's different if you pay someone to do the work for you. But whereas search engine marketing, you are paying for that keyword to show up first on the page, or you are, an SEO, it is going to be organic and show up hopefully on page 1 underneath those ads. So both have that same goal of showing up higher in search results. They both need to have some keyword research to find out what people are searching for. But search engine marketing is the quick game. Let's get to the top of the page now. Search engine optimization is going to be a longer game. But once you're there, you may stay there.
Right. Yeah, and the strategy is different for both of them. Like you said, SEO takes a lot of thought and a lot of, making sure you're staying up with it. Because, you can't do it for 1 month and then disappear for a year and wonder why you're not showing up on Google. Whereas with SEM, you might buy an ad that day and all of a sudden you're showing up for people top of page. So it's just a different way to think about, how to show up in those searches. Same results, hopefully, in the end, but just different ways of getting there. So we know that we would say that both of these are important. But if you're a listener and you only have so much money to go around, or you only have so much time, which one of these do you think would be what they should focus on, or how should they figure out which one to focus on first?
Okay, this is a great question because one of the reasons I put this blog together was because that was exactly what our clients are asking us. Okay, so yeah, you have SEO, you have SEM, which one should I do? So here is how I help them kind of problem solve or make that decision. So first of all, let's ask yourself, do I need to show up quickly on search results to hopefully have more clicks and then conversions? Okay. So if you want to get to the top of the page quickly, SEM, definitely purchase those keywords, get your ad up there. Now, know that when you stop paying for that keyword,
Right.
you're not going to still be on the top of the page.
Right.
Very unlikely that you would be. But, we had a client saying, hey, next year I've got an event every 3 months and I need to fill spots for this event. So in that sense, search engine marketing is the perfect choice to
Right.
have those Google ads to pay for that event promotion. So the second question, do I have time to devote to the long game and establish a strong organic presence in search? So if the answer is yes, then of course SEO is going to be a greater choice for that, because once you put the time and effort into building that, optimizing and building that content around keywords, and you begin ranking higher, usually you stay pretty high up there for a long time. Some of my clients have been there. When we even took over, I saw, okay, wow, they're ranking very well for these keywords, and they have been for 3+ years
Right.
without any changes really to that. We did some minor tweaking and updating, just refreshing, but once you gain that momentum, you usually hold it and you're not doing anything else. So it's not like it ends when you stop paying for it.
Right.
Okay, so the next one, does my site contain quality content with pertinent keywords? So if you are churning out lots of good content, blog posts, or you really put some detailed work into the content, then SEO may be a great choice for you, because with just a few tweaks on that optimizing, you may see some great results. So the second one, another question, do I consistently share blog content? Well, if yes, then SEO, again, may be a better choice for you because of that good content that you're constantly sharing. With blogging, you have a wide world of all the different keywords that people are putting in. So you have the chance of reaching such a vast audience, which is one of the reasons we love blog writing here at Dogwood. Okay, next question. Do I have money budgeted for a monthly ad spend? Okay, look at your budget. Do you have money to spend and put towards search engine marketing? If yes, you can apply that money to your SEM work and get on the top of the page. The thing about being at the top of the page with search engine marketing is that they may not get as many clicks to begin with as a natural organic listing, but the people that click on it are ready to buy or ready to take action. And so conversions happen more often. Okay. 2 more questions. Ask yourself, do I have a strong working knowledge of the demographics of my target audience? Okay. Now we can go down a rabbit hole with this for a long time, but anytime you are setting up any kind of ad work, we want to know our target audience, don't we, Lauren?
Yeah.
And there are so many ways you can narrow that audience down. But you first have to know, who is my ideal customer? What do my customers look like? Who are my repeat buyers, or who is my target audience that I want to know about this? Okay. So if you know who your target audience is, the demographics of them, then search engine marketing may be a better choice because of those targeting things. You know, these SEM tools can pick those people out.
Right.
So if you're only showing your ads to people that would appreciate them, they're much more likely to click. Okay. Final question. Do I have both the time to optimize my website or the money to pay somebody to do it? Okay. And the money to spend on paid digital advertising? Well, then, yeah, guys, you can have the best of both worlds with your SEO long game happening, but also your immediate search engine marketing at the top of the page.
Yeah. They're both just so important. I mean, I completely understand, especially with our clients come in and asking us, like, you just don't always have money to do all of the things. And so I understand wanting to pick one or the other, but if you have the ability to do both, there's really no better option than to really take advantage of both options and really be able to focus in on what you're doing and be able to reach the most amount of people and just cover all your bases. That's definitely what we try to encourage folks to do. So yeah, that's basically the basics of SEO and SEM. I hope that this was a helpful conversation for all of you, or at the very least, just help you to understand a little bit more of what all these crazy acronyms mean. So I just wanted to thank you so much for being our guest today. We're so happy to have you back in the office, and can't wait to have you back on for another episode.
Yep, looking forward to it.
Next week, Brian will be back as your host, and he will be talking to one of our marketing strategists, Sarah Kate. And y'all will be talking about how to grow your Instagram audience. That is a question that we get all the time, so that will definitely be a good one to tune into. If you like what you're hearing and you want to head on over to our website, dogwoodmediasolutions.com, you can check out the other blogs that we've written. We have tons of things from the 4 years that we've been around that you can check out. You can also go back and listen to our other podcasts. Right now there's only 2, but as time goes on, there will be a lot more. So you can go check those out. And also, if you're wanting to connect with us, you can also head over to our website. That's the best way to get in contact with us, whether through the website or social media, or give us a call. We would love to talk to you and find out a way that we can partner with you for your marketing needs. And if you have not already, please subscribe to the podcast, give it a review. That really helps us a lot. And thanks for tuning in to the Dogwood Media Solutions podcast. And until next time, happy marketing.